Welcome back, people. We're here at Gamuso Live Space doing GamusoTV here in Asagaya, Western Tokyo. And joining us today is a man called Johnny, otherwise known as the Spilt Ink, I understand. So, let's go back to the Spilt Ink, Johnny.
Yep.
May I call you Johnny?
Please call me Johnny.
Can I call you Mr. Spilt?
Mr.
Okay,
Spilt.
we'll go with Johnny.
Please do.
But what's the origin of the Spilt Ink? The name itself.
The name itself. When I was in college, I did graffiti. I was never good at it, and all my paints and all my artwork just spilt. It was always dripping and stuff.
Okay.
Like most graffiti.
So it's self-explanatory.
There you go. Yeah.
I suppose every artist has had to deal with spilt materials.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
At what age did you really feel that this was an avenue that satisfied you?
Well, it's always satisfied me. I mean,
when were you first aware of it, of the satisfaction that you could get from drawing?
When I was a kid. You know, I mean, I didn't like school. I know it's bad to say that, but I wasn't a good student. I didn't like school. I liked listening to punk rock and heavy metal and just hanging out with my friends and stuff. So when the teacher was talking, I was just doodling. I was just drawing cartoons and pictures and stuff like that.
You began as a doodler.
Yeah, I was a doodler. I should be the great doodler.
So, would I be correct in saying that the progression of your expression is first you started producing live events, organizing music events, then you moved to live painting, and from there you moved into podcasting? Is that the chronology?
No. When most people are interviewed and they're explaining their life, it is like that. They say, I did this, then I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and here I am now. But
Right.
for me, it's
neat
a
little boxes.
I know. It's like this nice little timeline. But for me, it's just like I do kind of everything all at once, and everything kind of affects and benefits, sometimes benefits, sometimes not, each other. You know, I mean, I've always been drawing and doing painting and artwork and stuff. I mean, when I was a little kid, two things I loved to draw. One was Joe Camel. Do you remember Joe Camel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a Camel
cigarette icon, yes.
Yeah, he was my hero. I love Joe Camel. When I was a little kid, Joe Camel had the cool cars. He played pool. He had hot girls, you know.
Coolest camel in town.
And he was easy to draw. So I love Joe Camel. So I would draw Joe Camel. And then from there, I started drawing like Metallica when the album One came, or was it Injustice for All came out. Okay. I started drawing that. And then, you know, and before that was Iron Maiden, like Eddie. But Eddie was tough.
They had interesting album covers.
Yeah, oh, they did. Power Slave, Live After Death. And I still do. I love Iron Maiden. But I could never draw Eddie as well as I could Joe Camel. So Joe Camel was like, you know, when I was in junior high school, I had Joe Camel written all over the place. I mean, I didn't even smoke. Well, I did start smoking when I was in junior high school. I shouldn't say that. Kids don't smoke. I don't smoke anymore. Kids
don't smoke anymore. They realize that it's poison.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I'm drinking.
So you started out with just basic images as a child. So right now, are you still involved in all three areas? Producing live events, live painting, and podcasting.
Yeah.
You're doing all three at this time.
All three.
It's not box. It's one big box together.
Kinda, yeah. Everything kind of complements the other. You know, like, I mean, I can't stop drawing. I can't stop doing art. I'm always thinking about art. I mean, if you go in my bag over there, I've got like 2 sketchbooks where I'm always writing ideas and stuff.
Why can't you stop drawing? Would it be hell if you were suddenly unable to draw?
Oh, God, yeah. I can't imagine not drawing. I can't imagine not being able to just sketch. I mean, geez, I'm always drawing like images on anything, you know? I mean, when I'm bored...
Feel free to doodle. It's okay.
Yeah, once this gets boring, sure, yes. No, but I mean... I mean, life would be hell if I couldn't sketch or draw or paint. You know, I'm always sketching. You know, I mean, if I've got time at a cafe, you know, I'm either reading a book or I'm sketching, or sometimes both at the same time. Like, oh, that's a cool idea, and I'll just write an idea down, and then that idea eventually
in a visual form, in a graphic form.
Well, the thing is, the ideas come from everything. You know, when I listen to a podcast or I listen to music, or if I'm just like reading something, you know, right now I'm reading Pimp by Iceberg Slim, and now I'm just drawing all these pimps, like from the 1970s. And
your impression of pimps.
Well, I guess it would be considered my impression of pimps, but I mean, we all know what a pimp from the 1970s kind of looks like: alligator shoes, you know,
right.
Feather, zoot suits.
Yep. In terms of this interaction, you know, when I think of drawing, painting, sketching, I think of it as a very private and personal activity. But that might have been your origins when you were younger, but you've taken it to live painting.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't quite understand. It's public, the creation of art in public, in loud, noisy spaces, with a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
There are big differences. What took you from that private experience to that very, very public experience?
That's a really good question. Well, let's see here. A long time ago, not too long, but about like maybe 5 years ago, there's a guy, and he was an amazing artist. His name was Sig, and Sig was a good friend of mine, and he was an amazing comic book artist. He was phenomenal. I think he worked on Transformers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, and he was living in Japan and stuff. And he was a friend of mine. You know, we go drinking together and stuff, you know, and sometimes we'd have like art shows together. And at that time I was doing a different format of artwork, and he was doing artwork as well. And he was also doing live painting. And he was doing live painting with like, you know, like a bright light. And he was painting at a couple of nightclubs, right? And I saw him
How long ago was this, by the way? Approximately.
Around 2011, I think.
Okay. So you were doing live painting. He was doing live painting. He introduced you to this, and continue.
He was doing that. And some people in Tokyo were also doing live painting. At that time, live painting's been going on for like a long time. But this is my first real exposure where I got to like hang out with like a phenomenal artist, where I could see somebody doing something great and enjoying himself, and then at the end of the night, you know, he has something where everybody's just like loving it. He's actually adding to the environment, to the experience. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's awesome, and that's something that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to copy him.
Right.
And then when he left,
artists don't copy each other.
Oh, they kind of do. But when he left, I was like, okay, well, now I can do that. And so I started doing live painting. And unfortunately, the first time I actually painted live was it was March 13th, 2011. So remember the big earthquake?
That day is ingrained in my memory. Yes, 2:45 March. What's that? March 13th.
The big earthquake in Japan was March 11th, right?
3/11.
3/11. That's right. Terrible band. But then on that Sunday was my debut to paint live at a nightclub. It was actually Club Womb, which is a huge club in Tokyo.
Been there.
Yeah, great club. And so anyway, my debut to paint live, and I was planning it for like months and months, not months, but days and days, maybe weeks and weeks, and I had this great idea to paint. And so when I went there to paint at the club, I got there early, I set up and stuff, and after the earthquake, everybody left Tokyo. So the thing is, when I painted live for the first time, nobody was there.
So it was a private experience.
It was a very private experience.
Unfortunately.
So the first time I painted live, you know, there's nobody there to see the work. But the thing was...
No pressure.
There was no pressure at all. But the thing was, I kind of got the itch to paint live because then I understood why Sig was doing it. And that was the bass, the music. Loud music in a loud atmosphere, great music with great DJs, one after another. that puts you in the zone quickly. You know, like how runners, they get in the zone, and they can sometimes they run off cliffs, and they're like, well, he was in the zone. That's why he jumped out or ran off a cliff. Right. You know, when you're painting
runners,
and stuff,
writers, drivers, cooks, chefs, everyone, the zone.
Yeah, it's like meditation almost, you know? You're up there and you're painting, and you could be painting from like 11 o'clock at night until like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, and it only feels like an hour.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
No breaks.
Well, I don't take breaks. I don't need a break. You know, I mean, I'm drinking. I got friends there. I got the music. You know, I've got all my work. I mean, I don't want to take a break. I want to do it until it's finished, you know? And besides, I mean, you do get breaks when people come up to you and they start talking to you and they want to take your picture or a picture with you or something like that,
right.
which is cool sometimes.
They're interrupting you.
They do interrupt you. They pull you out of the zone.
In this time, 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., do you produce one work or multiple works?
In Tokyo, I generally produce only one piece of work.
Per evening?
Per event, yeah. Well, a couple of times I've been booked 3 times in one night. And then I had to do smaller pieces where I go to like one club and I'll do one small piece, go to another club, do another small piece, and then another club and do another small piece. But when I go to Berlin, when I paint in Berlin, I'll like they book me and they pay me, so I got to do like at least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes a big mural or something the day after when I'm hungover. Not fun when you're hungover.
Well, occupational hazard, I guess, of doing live painting in clubs. So moving on from the live painting and the event production, again, which you are still doing, you've also been doing podcasts.
Yeah.
For a number of years. How many?
I think the first one I did was in 2010, like the middle of 2010.
Okay.
Around there, I guess. I got to look, but yeah, around there. 2010 for sure.
And you've done podcasts solo and also with partners. The name of your podcast currently is Got Faded. That's G-O-T, Got Faded, F-A-D-E-D.
Japan.
Got Faded Japan.
Yep, Got Faded Japan.
Why? Why Got Faded? It doesn't really strike me as having a positive connotation.
Well, got faded just means like drinking with your friends, you know, like got
fading
faded.
out.
Yeah, getting faded. Like so, like for example,
consciousness is fading away.
Well, that's what podcasts are pretty much all about. It's just like hanging out with somebody that you enjoy spending time with, and then talking about something like bullshitting. Yeah, can I swear?
I believe bullshitting is acceptable.
Okay, all right. Yes. I don't want to get you guys kicked off the media
or bull pooping.
all right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So,
I'm drinking.
How often do you do your podcasts? Monthly, weekly, daily?
Well, I've been doing a weekly podcast since 2010. When I'm not doing the podcast, my co-host would take over and stuff. Like if I go to Europe to do like live painting, which I do like maybe once or twice a year, I'll go to Berlin or Amsterdam or France or something. And then in that case, like my co-host takes over. My co-host, Tom, an amazing co-host.
Excellent.
Heavy drinker, but great guy.
Well. Actually, I saw one of your podcasts recently.
Oh, cool.
Which I thought was highly informative. Only the audio, of course, but you were, I believe, the title of it was Got Faded Japan, episode 382, and Tokyo Bitcoin Cowboys.
The Bitcoin.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, the Bitcoin Cowboys. Yeah, that was a fantastic episode.
highly informative, I thought.
Yeah. You know, I mean, sometimes we get some really interesting people on the show. We had Fat Mike from NoFX. We had Mickey A, who was the S&M queen of Japan, or at least she was. Burt Kreischer, the Machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there any particular process or way that you choose, or invite your guests for your podcasts?
Well, sometimes they find us.
Randomly?
At times, yeah. Like, sometimes we get a request. Like, there's this really amazing punk rock hardcore band called Deadneck. And Deadneck, you know, they contacted us. They're like, we love the show. You guys are phenomenal. And you guys always make us laugh. And we love to be on the show. We're going to be on tour. We got our Asian tour, our Asia tour and stuff happening. And if we could just have like a little bit of your time and stuff, we'd love to be on the show. And so I was like, yes, you can be on the show. No problem, you know.
Deadneck found you.
Yeah, Deadneck found us and stuff. And so we did an interview with them at a recording studio. And then after that, after drinking, I think like 3 or 4 bottles of sake, we went to a couple of bars. And yeah, it was definitely a got-faded time.
You and Tom and Deadneck.
Yeah, Tom Deadnecked himself that night. Ugh.
Do you focus on artistic people or creative people, or just do you try to give your audience a different perspective on this country, this culture, and this megalopolis called Tokyo?
As long as it has something to do with Japan, we're in.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if somebody's like Amish, if I'm in like, let's just say I'm in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or someplace like that or whatever, I'm not going to interview them. But I mean, if it's somebody that's in Japan or has an interest in Japan or doing something interesting in Japan, or as long as Japan is involved, you know, we're totally cool with like interviewing. We had a cop that was on the show from Finland that came to Japan.
A Finnish policeman.
Yeah. He loves the show. And so he came to Japan and stuff to do, he wanted to, see if he could come here and do like bodyguarding. Is that what it's called?
Security guard.
But like
personal security. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean the guy was in Iraq.
I don't think it's a verb, but you know.
Bodyguarding.
Could
it is
be.
now.
Bodybuilding.
We may have got bit in Japan, but yeah. So I mean,
language changes.
It does.
So back to your Finnish policeman.
Yeah.
Who came here to do security work? Oh, what's the end of that story?
You know, I think he went back to Finland and just was still a cop or something. I don't think he came here on vacation to pursue possibilities, and he contacted us. He's like, dude, I love your show. Is there any way, you know, we can hang out? And we really like hanging out with our guests and stuff, you know. So I mean,
your viewers.
Viewers, we do more audio these days, but I mean, yeah, we do have viewers too when we do.
Okay, well, your listeners then, I guess.
Yeah, listeners. That's right.
Well, John. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you.
And I think I understand the world of live painting much better than I did.
I hope so. That and podcasting. Podcasting.
It's a very large planet, and Lord knows what connections one can make. It's all about putting yourself out there, I guess, isn't it?
I guess it is, yeah.
Which you seem to be a bit of an expert at.
I'm doing my best.
You're not a shy man.
No, not at all. You know, I just like being me, you know, doing what I do.
Well, thanks for joining us here at Gamuso Live Space in Asagai, Tokyo.
Thank you.
And wish you the best in the future, and certainly good luck in Berlin next week.
Thank you. I need it. Sean, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. Have yourself a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be on the planet.
I know you know